Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, April 15th, day after Valentine's Day, noon Central Time. And this is the E-Rotary Coastal Club, Rotary International District 6200. I'm Phil Zimmerman, the club president. And we'll go ahead and get started with the beginnings of the Rotary tradition. So first, let's have a prayer. Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to meet as a Rotary group. We lift up a special prayer request for all those in Florida, in Broward County, that lost their loved ones at the school shooting yesterday, and those who are remaining in the hospital and recovery. Lord, we grieve for the families of the slain and for the injured. Pray for quick recovery of those who are still in the hospital. And Father, for the minds and hearts of all those involved, that they would be mended in the days ahead through this trauma, and continue just to provide the resources that are needed in that for the families and the institutions in the area, that they may recover fully and learn from this event and be stronger on the other side. Pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. We have the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Again, in Rotary tradition, we say the Pledge of Allegiance in the United States. If you're listening in some other country, bear with us as we honor our flag and our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. That's the Pledge of Allegiance. And Charles even put a little coastal scene behind our flag. Charles, very good on that. I like that. I like that a lot. Did you take that shot from somewhere? Looks like it's behind a boat or something.
No,
nice.
I take no credit for it. It's just the power of the internet.
There you go. All right. You need to be in the sunshine in the background. All right, the four-way test. This is the things we think, say, or do. And again, this is Rotarians around the world all recite this test. And it's not just for things we do in Rotary. We do it all the time. This is part of being a Rotarian. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So as we go out throughout our meeting and throughout our day after we get off the phone and throughout the rest of the week, month, year, may we always remember these items of the four-way test, keep them close to heart, and always be good examples in our communities of what a Rotarian lives by. Very good. We'll go to the next one, I guess, which is Rotarian of the Day. I'll introduce Charles here, who will be our Rotarian of the Day. This was an idea that Charles came up with, I guess, about a month ago when we had our initial meeting to kick off the year to develop our MVP plan for the mission vision plan for 2018-2019. And part of that mission was to, and Charles suggested it, to have a Rotarian of the Day who would be responsible for finding a speaker, introducing our speaker, and basically handling the meeting once I stop rambling. And so I'm going to pass it off to Charles in just a moment. But I do want to remind us that last meeting, Charles, we launched our club last February. I think it was February 17th or 22nd, one of those 2 days last year, on a Thursdays when we had our first E-Rotary Coastal Club meeting online. And at the beginning of the year, Charles and I we had gone a year. We had decided that we wanted to go ahead, and since we were a real club this time, we weren't actually accepted into Rotary International as a club until June 28th of 2017. So that now we're actually an official club. We figured we would go ahead and start this year almost like a reboot to help all of our members get up to speed on exactly who is Rotary International and how does District 6100 fit into it. And so we started a little bit of that process last week. Part of that understanding of Rotary International was again, the reintroduction of the Rotarian of the Day. Then we also introduced the idea that we were going to encourage and really not a high-pressure sale, but put some pressure on all of our members to attend a brick-and-mortar club in your area. That's a club that actually meets in a location, not like our club virtually online, but in a real location close to where you are. Introduce yourself at the meeting. They'll introduce you, but I'm talking about to go around the room, introduce yourself to people, let them know that you're an E-Rotary Coastal Club, provide an outreach for who we are and what we're trying to accomplish in our club, and then find out from them who they are and what they're trying to accomplish, to find out what their title project is, what's their main project that they do throughout during the year, and maybe an upcoming project that you can get involved in. And because we want our members, all of our members, to be actively involved with the local Rotary Club as well, that we can have other Rotarians we can call in our vicinity in need in the event that we have a project or an activity that we can joint partner with another club on activities. That really helps when you go for grants. The more clubs you have involved in a district on a grant and in a project, the better it is from receiving grant funds from the district as well as from Rotary International. And it also provides an opportunity to fellowship with other Rotarians. This virtual space that we're currently residing in for the E-Club makes that relationship building difficult. And it is very valuable and precious as a Rotarian who was a member of a brick and mortar club that we maintain that ability for our members. So that's part of that, what we were talking about last week. And then this week, what we wanted to do is Charles suggested this, and I backed it because I definitely wanted to have our speaker come in and talk to us about the foundation, because another item we covered the last meeting was foundational grant access. And Stan Bronson down in Florida wants us to help fund a student for his Netherlands initiative with the Water Institute here in Louisiana, in partnership with a program that he does in the Netherlands. And I'm all in favor of that, and work out how we can write a grant to do that. And so my idea was to call Ginger and have her come and address us. And Charles also wanted to have her come and address us for other things as well. So with that, Charles, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I see you got your Rotarian of the Day up there. Let me introduce you to Charles. Charles lives down in Terrebonne Parish in Ontario. Lives on Lytle Farms, 70-acre estate that I've been down to. It's got a couple of camps on one side of the road. He's got his house on the other side of the road. I'm not reading your bio, by the way. I will. I'm just kind of going off track here for a second. And he houses people on bed and breakfast online, and people contact him and come and stay at his camps. I mean, these are nice little houses. He's got little apartments he's got. And they hunt and fish and have a great time down on the bayou. And Charles is a great host, and his wife, and they have been doing that for a couple of years now, and it seems to be working out for him. He's the former owner of W.L. Gagne Company, advertising and PR consultancy, and has done the communications work on behalf of tourism and following the BP Deepwater Horizon incident. He's been married 35 years to his Cajun wife, Ann, and their roots are mired in the bayou community of South Lafourche. He's got 3 grown children and the grandfather of 5. So, Charles, let me turn it over to you.
Very good. Thanks, Philip. Okay, Rotarian of the Day, guys, for everybody around there is, again, it's our opportunity to know each other better. And also it allows us to bring guests, because as a club, we are our own best experts. So each of us have our own networks of topical experts. So as a Rotarian of the Day, this is our opportunity to, get to know each other better, but also to, use our own personal and professional networks to bring guests today. So anyway, this is Life on the Bayou. All of you are welcome to join me anytime down here as my guest. I'd love to show you around, take you out on the boat, put you in the duck line on the bank of the bayou with a glass of wine. In fact, our guest today has actually had that opportunity. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Miss Ginger Vann, who Ginger and I have shared water twice, actually. Once her as our guest here, where she experienced the things that Philip was describing. But another time, and forgive me, the actual date and year escaped me, but that Ginger can recall, when the mud boat that I have actually floated down Main Street in Baker, Louisiana, with Ginger at the helm. So anyway, Ginger is actually a driving force in the E-Rotary Club. It was Ginger and others who came to me and to others several years ago with the concept of founding it. Our Rotary Club president at the time wanted to pilot this idea, and Ginger came to me and with others to actually do this. So not only is she our speaker of the day, but she is in a very tangible way the reasons for our existence. Ginger is a vital part of the city of Baker, which, as you know, is in proximity to Baton Rouge. A beautiful, wonderful, welcoming community. And as you can see by her bio, again, she goes deep. I mean, she's done so much on behalf of Rotary, as a club member, as a leader in her own club, but also on behalf of District 6200, where she currently serves as our membership chairperson. You can see that she's been far and wide, has been recognized by the White House for her work, and has attended many of the Rotary International conferences. In April, we have our state 6200 conference, which is an amazing event. But if you've never been to an international conference, I mean, you just don't understand the scope and the breadth of who we are as Rotarians. But anyway, we're pleased to have Ginger with us today. Ginger, I'll probably skip some of the more important points, and feel free to fill in the gaps for us as I send the presenter roll over to Ginger. Ginger, welcome to your Rotary Cluster.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. To see the club up and going and the amazing speakers that you've had. I'm just, so thrilled to be a part of it. I'd like to talk to everybody today about Rotary. I've looked at a lot of the meetings that you've had online, and they've been central to coastal restoration and issues that surround that. But I'd like to talk to you about Rotary and make sure that we know about Rotary and what it means to be a Rotarian. I know a lot of you are new. Some have come from other clubs and whatnot. But I think it's always important to get back to the basics and learn just the structure of Rotary, the history of Rotary, and things of that nature. And I'd certainly love to come back to you and talk to you more about other aspects of Rotary, because I believe that the more that you learn about Rotary, the more amazing it is, and the more excited you get. And it's just, I never stopped learning and being amazed about what Rotary does. So let's see. We had a little issue with this earlier. Come on. So as my program decides to do something, I want to talk a little bit about what Philip and Charles were talking about earlier, is that we had the great flood of 2016 in Baker here, where I'm in the basement of City Hall, and I had 1.5 feet of water in the basement, but this is not even a flood area, and we had to walk through 3 feet of water to get to the building. And Charles actually came, and we took a boat, and the water was so deep we were going over trucks and things like that. But I think my closest tie, besides having the weather changes and whatnot in Baker, is that we actually have saltwater intrusion into our drinking water as far north as Baton Rouge. So there's whether you're on the coast or not, you definitely are affected by coastal restoration. So I applaud you in your efforts, and I look forward to you growing. So as most of you know, Rotary is a network of volunteers. We're all about service. There are about 1.25 million members in the world, and we represent more countries than they have in the United Nations. It's just an amazing group of people, and we're mostly professionals. There are exceptions, people like me. I am in economic development, and I'm a director of my department, but I haven't always been that. I've been more of a charitable person. I've worked with a charitable foundation. I've done taxes for 20 years for the elderly and low income for free. I've been on our Park and Recs advisory committees for over 10 years. So I'm out there in the community, and Rotary opened it up in 2007 for people that had charitable backgrounds because they thought that they might be good members of Rotary. So besides all of the muckety-mucks and whatnot, you're able to have members that are in charity, that are spouses. They've just made it a lot more flexible for clubs to determine what types of members that they have, trying out new membership types like corporate memberships and things like that. But we're all responsible people in the businesses that we're in, and it's important for us to, who much is given, much is expected. So it's nice for people at a high level with lots of different backgrounds to come together, because when we're diversified like that, not only by business and region and culture and these other ways, when we come together, we bring all those different perspectives, and it makes us so much stronger. So the object of Rotary, it's basically the ideal of service is the basis of worthy enterprise. When they first came up with the object of Rotary, they wanted to stress the fact that acquaintance is important, because without each other and coming together as a group, we're not going to be as strong or be able to do as much. That's why it's important to think about members and who we have in our clubs, because the more people we have and the more skill sets that we have, the more things that we can do. And one of Rotary's most important thrusts, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but I'll get into it in a little bit, is Rotary's Code of Conduct. And when we induct members, we have their hands up, and it's so important to be able to rely on people in a world that's kind of sketchy. There are lots of different people in business. It's important for us to be good role models to others, but also not even knowing somebody and knowing that they're a Rotarian, we have a very strong sense that they're an ethical and good person that we can deal with either professionally, through service, through Rotary, in friendships or whatnot. They're just the best people in the world that I've ever met, and just very willing to reach out and help and give a helping hand. And the other object of Rotary is peace, is a thrust for peace in the world. Right now there are, tons and tons of different conflicts, and even conflicts in our own lives, sometimes in our own clubs. But for us to be a harbinger of peace and goodwill and help to resolve conflict, not just in our areas, but in the world. And that Rotary has taken that to be a part of our object. There are 6 avenues of focus in Rotary, and these are the ones that are important, because if you're going to ever try to get a grant for a global grant, they must fit into one of these 6 avenues of focus. These are the things that Rotary thinks if we focus on, we're going to make the biggest difference or the biggest change in the world. Making sure that mothers are healthy and children are healthy. It's amazing just here in Louisiana how high our infant mortality rates are, and a lot of that starts with the mother taking the right vitamins and having the right health and whatnot. That our worth of our homes and whatnot is based on education and literacy. And a person that doesn't have education and literacy, no matter where they are in the world, are starting at a disadvantage. One of the other things is economic and community development, and that's what I do for the City of Baker. I'm the Director of Community Workforce and Economic Development. So a lot of times what Rotarians are doing in the world are providing microloans or teaching skills like sewing and whatnot. Like if you teach somebody in the Philippines to sew, and they get a job in a factory, they can support 20. So, that directly relates to the economic well-being of the areas that they're in. And like I said before, peace and conflict, that goes with it. We have all kinds of peace centers that have sprung up all over the world that Rotary has. Disease prevention and treatment's a big one for Rotary. Most of you hopefully have heard of Polio Plus, and that's one of our biggest programs and projects that we've had to date. I'll talk a little bit about that later. And the other is water and sanitation. It's shown that people if they have correct water and sanitation, they become 4 times more productive because they're not out of work or sick or whatnot. There's going to be a little video today that's going to touch a little bit about water and sanitation. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about are the 5 avenues of service. Now, these are the ways that we as Rotarians in our clubs or whatnot these are the types of service that we use to accomplish those 6 areas of focus. We have club service, community service, vocational service, youth service, and international service. And pretty much any kind of service that we have fits into one of those. Now, we're not political or religious at all. We try to stay away from that. It's hard to bring in the peace and conflict resolution when you're dealing with controversial topics, and people from all over the world and all of our Rotarians come from all different walks of life, and we need to understand them, where they come from, because we know that just like us, that they have a heart for service. The 4-way test, we did the 4-way test at the beginning of our meeting today, and most of you know it very well. It's more about thinking about the ethics and how we are as a role model in everything that we do, not just in front of other Rotarians or, behind someone's back or whatnot, but that we're always thinking about how to be better people. But a lot of people don't understand that the 4-way test was started by a Rotarian back in the 30s who had taken over a bankrupt company. It's right about the time of the Great Depression, and he was trying to find a way to turn the business around. So he came up with this 4-way test, and he asked all of his employees to follow that model, and it took off like wildfire. He ended up being a Rotary International president. And, since then it was adopted by Rotary in 1943. It's been translated into hundreds of languages, and, it's in most books that I found today on ethics. So, if you're like me, it's really, really hard if you come up with a tough situation to make something fit into all of the 4 tests of the 4-way test. But it's a good what you want to call it, thought basis it's a good, I don't know what you want to call it, value to try to live up to and try to incorporate in our lives. Getting back to the Rotary's Code of Conduct, this is the one where when we have new members, everybody is given the Code of Conduct before they even become a member of our club, because we want to make sure that they understand how important ethics is to Rotary. So we want to make sure that the members want to use their talents, that they are the creme de la creme in their business and society and integrity. The person that you're going to say, I trust him with my life. He is an upstanding person. I want to be like them, and that you're going to conduct yourself in all ways in an ethical manner. Ethics has been brought to the forefront in Louisiana because of the history that we've had here of, creative doings in politics and whatnot. So, it's mostly important just to make sure that we're trying to provide opportunities for young people, that we're good mentors, that we're focusing on improving our communities and being good role models. It's so exciting for me. Just not long ago, I had our Interact chair. That's our Interact club is a teen club that we have, that our club sponsored, and one of her sons had a wreck when the ice happened over in Texas. Well, I looked up the Texas number. I called the president. He got on the phone. He found the young man. He took care of him. He fed him. He helped him get back on the road. And he didn't mind doing it. It was at 11 o'clock at night. But that's kind of what you get for, when you find other Rotarians. You can trust them with your kids. You can trust them with your life. Rotary's motto is service above self, as hopefully all of you know. And then, let's see, I'm trying to get to my next slide. Have you had this issue before, guys?
Sometimes technology is wonderful when it works, but
okay.
You're my friend, so it's fine. You're doing great.
Okay, so with that, I would like to have, I don't know how to, but Charles, I'd like you to take over the reins and play that short video on the history of Rotary. I don't know how many of you know the history of Rotary, but it's like a 2 or 3 minute video, and I think it's really important to see. But you'll see on the screen right there, those are the 4 first Rotarians that we have.
Is this the one, Ginger? Or
no, that's the second one. It was the one I sent, that one.
Okay, here we go.
Our vision.
Oh, no, you're wrong. I'm wrong. It was the other one. Sorry, you were right.
That's all right, yeah.
I am wrong.
Never. All right, let's try this one.
The very first Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Chicago, was formed on February 23rd, 1905. Paul Harris, an attorney, together with 3 business acquaintances, Gustavo Flor, Sylvester Chiel, and Hiram Shorey, gathered at Lohr's office at room 711 of the Unity Building in downtown Chicago. This was the first Rotary Club meeting. They called the new club Rotary after the practice of rotating meeting locations. Within 5 years, clubs had formed across the United States, from San Francisco to New York. In August 1910, Rotarians held their first convention in Chicago. The 16 clubs that existed at that time united to form the National Association of Rotary Clubs. In 1912, the name changed to International Association of Rotary Clubs, with the addition of clubs in other countries. The name Rotary International was adopted in 1922. By 1925, Rotary had grown to more than 2,000 clubs and an estimated 108,000 members on 6 continents. Today, Rotary International has more than 33,000 clubs and 1.2 million members worldwide, with the world headquarters located in Evanston, Illinois. Visiting the headquarters, which I'm fortunate enough to have done twice, somehow brings a powerful sense of pride about belonging to this great Rotary organization. I'll try to talk more about that as we move in and around the headquarters through some wonderful photos. Water. We can't live without it. But in the world today, a lot of people can barely live with it. It's estimated that 1.8 billion people cook with, wash with, and drink contaminated water. 2.5 billion lack access to sanitation. In developing countries, people suffering from diseases caused by bad water, inadequate sanitation, and poor hygiene occupy half the hospital beds. Universal access to sanitation and clean water would save 2.5 million lives per year. Sounds expensive, right? But every dollar invested in water and sanitation returns on average more than $4 in increased productivity. Bottom line, we can't afford not to safeguard the world's water supply.
That's that. I guess you could pass it back.
That's fine.
Thank you. My slow computer has to pick up again. There we go. Oh, I went too far. Okay. Basically, what we just talked about, I decided to put it on a slide just because I never knew if the video was actually going to work. But we've been working together in Rotary for over 100 years, as you could tell, because we were started in 1905. So we just finished having actually the 100th year anniversary in 2005, and just recently had the 100th anniversary of the Rotary Foundation last year. So the main thing that they were talking about was that the reason that Paul Harris decided to start Rotary was because he was alone in the city of Chicago, and he wanted other professionals to work with. He wanted somebody he could rely on. He had an attorney in his group. He had a tailor in his group. I forgot what Shield did, but they were all people that could get together that they could rely on and share business contacts with, so that they knew that they had somebody they could depend on to turn to for legal issues or create, making their suits or whatnot. So now, after all this time, there are more than 35,000 clubs, like I said, in over 200 countries in the world. The way Rotary is structured is it starts with the club at the club level, and then those clubs are organized into districts, and those districts are organized into zones, and the zones are where they select the Rotary International Board. So just to let you know that we are in Zone 31, and we share a Rotary International Director with Zones 30. So 30 and 31, it's the heartbeat of America. And that's kind of the name of our zone. And we're in District 6200, which I hope that you remember. We have 51 clubs, of which you are one of the brand new, I think you were the 51st club. And we have about 2,500 members in our district. E-Rotary Coastal, your club number is 88700. Now, I'm not sure how they got that high, because my club number is 2599. But I don't think we've come and gone through that many club numbers in the past. But you may need to know that at some point. If you want, you can make a note of it. But like I said, there are 35,000 Rotary groups in 530 districts and 34 zones. So what we have is a Rotary International president. That is, he or she is a president for 1 year. They're preside over the board. We have a Rotary Board of Directors, and we also have Rotary Foundation trustees. Now, the trustees make sure that they take care of our money. Now, Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation are two different organizations, but they're linked together because of the board. The Board of Directors elects the ones that go and become the foundation trustees. Now, these guys have amazing investment power. I need to figure out who they are so I can get them to be my advisor, because they take care of all of our money, and all the money that we donate to the foundation. Half of it comes back to us in our district, and that's the money that we use for these district grants, like the one that you were talking about. The board basically sets policy. The foundation takes care of our money. Each of the directors serves for 2 years. And here it says they represent one zone, but sometimes they represent two, because we certainly don't have 34 directors of Rotary. In our actual area, our president of Rotary International right now is Ian Risley. He's from Australia. And our Zone 31 director is Greg Yank. So we share him with Zone 30 and 31. And if you look at the very bottom, you'll see our district is District 6200, and that Louisiana actually has 3 different districts in it. We're just the southernmost part of Louisiana. We don't include just a few little, I forget what it is, the parishes and New Orleans we're missing. And of course, North Louisiana, anywhere from Alexandria north, is in 6190. But you can see the number of districts that we have that actually comprise our zones. Right now, our district governor is Martha Collins. She's from the Rotary Club of Golden Meadow. And I am your self-proclaimed assistant governor because you guys just became a club at the end of 2017 Rotary year, 16-17. So I'm with the Rotary Club of Baker in Baton Rouge. So if you ever need anything, any answers to anything, you can call me. My information will be at the end. And of course, your E-Club of Coastal Louisiana is your official name. I know you guys have a nickname that you use, and that's your club number again with your president, Philip Zimmerman. Okay. No. Okay. We talked a lot about leadership. We talked about the high echelons of Rotarians and whatnot. But the most important level is the club level. That's where we really get things done. And most people think that we're all Rotarians, but individuals do not belong to Rotary International. Your club does, even though we're all considered to be Rotarians. It's an interesting technical difference, but that's how it works. And that's why our bylaws and whatnot and our charters go to our clubs. And we couldn't be a member unless our club was chartered. Okay, we're ready for the next. Hang on. That's the one, Charlie. Charles, I need you to take back. And I'd just like you to go through the video that talks a little bit more about the foundation. It looks a little similar to the other one that we listened to, but it's more oriented to the Rotary Foundation.
Is it this one?
Yes, sir.
Ago. At Rotary's 1917 convention, President Arch Klump proposed an endowment for doing good in the world. His dream expanded the reach of Rotary far beyond the club. A contribution of $26.50 launched our foundation's endowment. A century later, we've spent more than $3 billion on humanitarian efforts worldwide.
Every Rotary project anywhere in the world always started out with one person. And then they were able to grow and develop that idea by using that powerful network of Rotary to really change the world.
We are active. We are effective. We are really alive.
Our foundation has always been dedicated to improving lives. The first grant provided aid to disabled children. Today, we're on the verge of ending polio.
Et lorsque je vois une mère le sourire après avoir donné le vaccin à son enfant, cela comble ma journée de joie. Parce que j'ai la conviction que cet enfant ne sera jamais handicapé.
Without Rotary, this polio campaign wouldn't be anywhere. And the incredible effort that's been made from the very beginning is really unprecedented.
In the wake of a world war, we made a global impact by funding scholarships for international study. Today, we train the next generation of global peacemakers.
The Rotary Peace Fellowship takes people who have a desire to learn here and gives them that opportunity.
Good intentions alone are not sufficient. This is one of the most important things an international organization like Rotary should do.
We all see this as a passion. We've got to do something for change.
not only for young people today, but of tomorrow.
Rotary is dedicated to personal and professional connections, so we created Group Study Exchange to build international understanding. Today, our foundation supports vocational training teams around the globe.
The DTT program allows people to bring specific skills to improve another country.
Rotarians wanted to broaden their impact, so our foundation began funding their projects. A decade later, we began supporting larger projects to address health, hunger, and other humanitarian needs. Today's large-scale grants are measurable and sustainable. They allow us to tackle humanity's greatest challenges. Years ago, Arch Klump had a vision. His vision has become our legacy.
The Rotary Foundation is a great tool to transform the world.
That's what Rotary is all about. Vision to see, faith to believe, courage to act.
The Rotary Foundation. We are doing good in the world. Let's continue for the next 100 years.
Okay, that's that one. Okay, it's so exciting to be able to go around the world and see all the different things that people are doing. I've had the ability to go and actually work on a polio National Immunization Day. But it's amazing. Since 1985, when Rotary launched the world, not only get polio vaccines, but they get vaccinations for a whole slew of other
Are you able to hear Ginger?
I'm still here. No, I can't hear Ginger.
Okay, let's send her a message.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
There we
Can
go.
you hear you? Yep.
Okay, my computer just went to reconnecting, so I apologize about that. I don't know what the last thing you heard me say was. Anything about polio?
Yeah,
you are the humanitarian relief team.
Right, that we were able to actually go to India and do a National Immunization Day, but since, polio programs were started in Rotary back in '85, they've added the plus to it, which allows the Rotarians to set up kind of a network to not only move polio eradication, like the drops or the shots, immunizations for the kids, but they have the plus, which is the same thing as all of the different immunizations that we've gotten since we were a child, smallpox, rubella, all of those different ones. And since then, we have gone from having hundreds of thousands of cases of polio a day to having 24 cases of polio in the world last year. I think we've had 2 or 3 so far this year in Afghanistan. Pakistan is still holding strong, but we're trying to. Here is where we went to India. This was our group. They're part of our group, the girls. And then this was a village that we went to. It was the Miwat Mahatma Gandhi village in in India, which is the poorest area in all of India, and it's where Mahatma Gandhi visited a long time ago to try to keep the Muslims in India because they were migrating back and forth, to get out of the country. So they had 2 toilets in the whole city for 15,000 people. And so, just you have to learn how important sanitation is because the polio will get into the sanitation and then it'll reinfect them and it'll mutate. So they were walking through all kinds of things like that, but it was amazing to see it and to see the beautiful children and feel like I was helping to change lives. So we've spent $1.7 billion, and I think that number is low and old. But if you ever get a chance to go and help immunize people, I think that you'll never, ever, ever forget it. And right now, for every dollar that you give to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, will now not only donate $2, but they'll donate $3. So for every $1 becomes $4 for the eradication of polio in the world. So I wanted to do a quick quiz, and I kind of blew through this presentation, but does anybody know how many avenues of service that we have?
Are there 6?
You can kind of think of it as the 654. There are 6 areas of focus, 5 avenues of service, and the 4-way test. So the avenues of service were the club, community, vocational, international, and youth service. All right, I'll give in. 6200 is the name of our district. Can anyone tell?
You dropped out right there. We didn't hear you ask the question.
Okay.
So it's like Jeopardy. What is District 6200?
Exactly. That's it. Okay, who can tell me who the founder of Rotary was?
Paul Harris.
Paul Harris, that's right. He was the one that had the first idea of Rotary and is the one who got the 4 guys together to rotate through in Chicago. They would go to a different person's office every week to actually meet. And Paul Harris is the one that they have named giving awards to the foundation. They've called them Paul Harris Fellows or Paul Harris Societies. So you'll learn more about that. This is a quick little thing, but I wanted to know if anybody caught this. What's the most important organizational level of Rotary?
The club.
Excellent. And what is Rotary International's biggest program to date?
Polio eradication.
You got it. Polio Plus. So in this one, I hope everybody will get who has an opportunity to change the world through a huge network of like-minded individuals.
We do.
That's exactly right. So with that, I wanted to just mention, I know that when I talked to Philip earlier, he had mentioned this District 6200 Coastal Project that we have, and it was started out with an idea by Mark Shirley, who works with the LSU Ag. He's from the Rotary Club of Abbeville, and I understand that Mark Shirley contacted you, Philip, and that they're looking for 10 to 20 shallow draft boats, kind of like the one you have, Charles, with small 4-person crews to actually go and plant marsh grass. Now, it's going to be a huge network of, I think, of mats, basically, that are in the shape of the rotary wheel, so that if you're on Google Earth, you'll actually be able to click on near the New Orleans Airport near Vermilion Bay and actually see it. It'll be the first project by Rotary that will be able to be seen from space. So that's going to be happening April 28th. I think it's right up your club's alley to actually get involved. I'd love for you guys to see each other and work together. So if you can make it a mission for you guys to be available to actually do this project, I think it would be excellent and awesome. So I've included Mark Shirley's email on the bottom. You guys work through Philip to try to coordinate your efforts. We're going to have, we have 51 clubs in the area. I think that, if we get a boat per 5 to 10 clubs and the people from the clubs, that we should be fine. The more boats and crews we have, the faster the project will go. So with that, I just wanted to kind of mention that as a project and just encourage you for any projects that you do on the coast. You have a lot of land-based clubs down in Houma, Golden Meadow, Grand Isle, Abbeville, all of these ones that are on the coast that it's in their best interest to help and would be willing to help you, even including Rotaract clubs and their Interact clubs. So I encourage you to go forward with that. And if you need me in the future, I'm Ginger Vann with the Rotary Club of Baker. I've included my mobile and work numbers and my personal email. So like I said, if you ever want to get in touch with me, let me know. I do write the monthly District 6200 newsletter, and Philip has sent me an article that I'm going to write about your club. So be sure when it gets sent out to check out your article and see what else is going on in District 6200. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Ginger, I do have one. I noticed that Stan Bronson's on the line, and he's one of our members who he actually lives in West Palm Beach, Florida, and he's the one who has the desire to write a grant for scholarship opportunities. So can you go through some of that process for us real quickly? Not getting any great detail, but what is that process of what do we need to do first in order to apply for a grant?
Well, it's interesting. The first thing that you need to do is you need to have 2 people in your club certified to write grants or have gone through the grant certification process. So, Philip, you did it last year through PETS, and Charles, you're going to be doing it this year through PETS. So somebody else will probably need to do it. We normally will have another grant writing seminar, or is it not a grant writing, but another grant seminar. I think that there'll be one. Gosh, let me look at my calendar real quick. It's a little bit later but not quite into the next Rotary year, but we should start writing them now. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter how much money you've donated. It has in the past, but and it definitely helps because our club will give a minimum. I think we gave $400 and some per capita last year, and so we normally, you can get up to 1 or 2 grants for usually $2,000. Sometimes you have to have a matching, and sometimes you don't. We were able to get two grants for $2,000 last year, so it's right up your alley. But the most important thing they want to look at is see how many Rotarians are going to be involved in that particular district grant. So the more of you that are involved, the better. So you want to bolster that. Once you get certified, or you have 2 certified people, you can do a district grant. You only need 1 certified person to do a global grant, which is odd because they start at $30,000. And you'll want to kind of make sure that you stress the sustainability of it. Like once you send the person, explain how they're going to come and give back with the knowledge that they've gained through the scholarship. That's a good idea. And the process is going to be, you're going to be getting the papers through the Foundation Committee, which is headed by Mike Collins. He's in the Rotary Club of Golden Meadow. He's actually married to our present Governor, Martha Collins. He was a governor back, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. But it's all going to be automated this year. You'll be able to just get a piece of paper, or they'll send you a document, and you just transfer it to them electronically. You email it back and forth, and then you have to give project reports quarterly, and your final report is due, I think, the 15th of March. So it's a pretty easy process. I can share some that I've written with you, kind of give you an idea of how to write. But I would encourage all of you to think about the foundation. I'd love to give you or have somebody do a foundation presentation to you to kind of give you a glimpse of what we do in the world. But, you know, if you think about it, as we're giving, half of it's going to global grants, the other half is coming back to us in our districts to use here, but it can also be a scholarship for somebody to go overseas or to have a scholarship to go to school around here. So I didn't really understand. I guess you were sending somebody to Norway or?
To the Netherlands. To the Netherlands.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And we also have scholarships through the district that they spend some of that money that comes back on that. So you might want to look into the other district. Get in touch with Mike Collins. Send him an email.
I will do that. Maybe follow up with that, another follow-up, because I'll contact Mike. But since Stan lives in Miami, if we were to get another brick and mortar club in Miami to partner with us, would that help as well?
Oh yeah, it absolutely can. What is he going to go for school, and how much is the schooling going to be?
This is Stan. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's students from all over the nation. So from big universities, LSU would be the participant for the Baton Rouge area. So. But I've written Rotary grants before.
Oh, great.
So I'm very familiar with the process, but I need to get recertified. So I can do that through PETS.
Are you going to be going to PETS where you are?
Yeah, it's in Orlando.
Okay. I mean, your district the district there probably has an opportunity that you don't have to sit through all the PETS to go to. Or are you going to PETS because you're going to be president next time of this club?
I got invited a couple years ago, but I'll figure it out.
Okay, great. And you don't have to be the one that's certified to write the grant. Just let you know that if Philip and Charles are certified, you don't have to be.
Oh, okay.
2 people in your club have to be certified.
Okay.
That's it. So, but that's great. So do you make up or go to meetings anywhere there in Florida?
No, just this one.
Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to have you on board here. So anyway, anybody else have any questions? You can always contact me personally if you don't want to tie up the line. Okay. Well, with that, you guys, I'll turn it back over. I've really enjoyed being here with you today, and I hope that that you've enjoyed my talk on the power of Rotary.
Thank you very much, Ginger. We definitely appreciate your sharing with us, Charles. I'm going to go ahead and let you finish it off since you're the Rotarian of the day, and you can sign us off when you're done.
Very good. Well, I just advise or ask everybody to please check recent emails for the next Rotarian of the day and the ones that follow. We've got those lined out through the end of the year, so everybody has ample time to review those. Be prepared for your turn to do this, and we look forward to that. But with that, thank you for everybody's time. Please join us in 2 weeks as we'll have another amazing presenter. Ginger, thank you so much. You're gracious as always, and we're so grateful for your leadership at the district level.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, man.